The 67 Blankets for Madiba campaign is launching the Massive Mandela Masterpiece in Pretoria tonight. The hashtag #MMM initiative takes place on South Africa's prestigious Blue Train. Our reporter Patricia Visagie is in the thick of all the excitement and joins us live with all the details. Good evening, Patricia. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, it sounds like such an exciting initiative. Tell us more.
Good evening, Tabila, and to our viewers. Now, you would know that to the average South African, being on the Blue Train is really just a dream. But for the 67-minute, or rather 67-blanket campaign for Madiba, this today has become a reality to be on this luxurious train, and of course to urge all South Africans to also, attach their hope to this campaign and make it even bigger. Now, as you said earlier, that the hashtag #MMM campaign is launched today from the belly of this train. Now, we have various people from government, from the diplomatic corps, from the entertainment sector, the media, who have all taken time out of their busy schedule to be here today. Now, what we initially doing is, of course, we're launching the initial campaign to have various pixels of a portrait of the struggle hero. Now, this particular portrait will be launched next year. But to tell us more and give us more detail, that of course have much more information than I have, is the founder of this beautiful campaign. That is Caroline Steyn. Caroline, can you bring us better into the picture as to what we're doing on this prestigious train tonight?
I think it's quite extraordinary, but so many extraordinary things have happened with 67 Blankets. So tonight is about launching our Massive Mandela Masterpiece, otherwise our MMM project. So basically, we're going to create the largest portrait blanket in the world of the face of Madiba to mark his 100th year. This is going to happen April 24th next year at Zonderwater Maximum Correctional Centre. So we've got people all over South Africa making blankets or pixels measuring 160 by 160 centimeters, and we need all South Africans to come on board to make this dream a reality.
But it stretches beyond the border of South Africa, doesn't it? As you said earlier, there are people from India, people from the United States, from the UK, who have all, made sure that they're part of this campaign. Maybe if you can bring us into the picture, do you have maybe numbers as to how many people from other countries participated in this project?
Gosh, there's so many thousands of people. It's hard to keep up with the numbers. For instance, we're sitting with the Consul General of Italy right here. And so Assisi, the land of St. Francis, is busy making blankets. We've just received about 70 blankets from India to contribute towards this Massive Mandela Masterpiece. So there are thousands more to go. So we really need a blanket from you and from all the viewers to make this a reality on April 24th, 2018.
Why the Blue Train, many would ask? Why not, a place where the average South African can also be part, and why not go to the township where there's many people, where the majority of South Africans are?
We do this every week. We have knit-a-thons in Soweto, we have knit-a-thons in the Western Cape, all over the country. We've got 67 Blankets ambassadors all around South Africa and around the world, galvanizing communities to get involved. So we have gotten 3 Guinness World Records in 3 years. We've been running for 3 years, and that is because so many thousands of people all around the country go to events, knit-a-thons, restaurants, people's homes. It is amazing how we are knitting lives together. We're knitting our nation together. We're knitting nations together. On the train tonight, we've got the ambassador from France, the Consul General from Italy, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps. It's extraordinary, the Ambassador of Holland, and many celebrities to highlight the 67 Blankets cause. So we've got a lot of blanket coverage, thank you to you and to all the other media. So it's really to highlight and to say thank you to the people who've really gotten behind us, like Stutterford Van Lines. I mean, they've transported thousands of blankets all around our country, back and forth, to communities in need. We have distributed about 31,000 blankets, and the original pledge was 67 blankets. That's what I wanted.
Now, the initial plan was birthed in 2013. Is it growing? How does it look like? I think a lot of people are developing a very keen interest to really support the initiative.
Well, I must tell you something. Generations, the soap opera, which goes out all over Africa, and it's the longest running, most popular soap opera. They've woven us into their script for 3 years in a row. So we haven't grown, we've exploded. Generations has put us on the map.
All right, thank you so much. Let's speak to other guests that are also here. And now let's turn our attention to the Nelson Mandela Foundation. And I'm joined by Yase Godlo. Earlier, when you were addressing the guests that are here, you really touched on Madiba's dream, vision, and that is children. Yes. And that ultimately goes to the core of his, main value.
Yes. I think it's very important to acknowledge Mr. Mandela's values, and 67 Blankets for Mandela Day, it truly represents that, because it is about bringing warmth to those who most need it. It's about bringing communities together. I mean, who in South Africa would have ever thought that an inmate would be joined in a project with someone who's in a community who's not in behind bars? So this has been how we celebrate the values of Mr. Mandela, and actually truly celebrate how his ethos, I mean, he believed about that humanity should join together and find a common cause, and through any initiative that we do, we ensure that we celebrate each other, and 67 Blankets for Mandela Day has exactly done.
As the foundation, do you think South Africans, the average South African, is heeding the call to truly realize the vision of Madiba day to day, not just when we have fancy initiatives like this?
South Africans have really responded well to Mandela Day initiatives like this, and we've seen South Africans getting involved, and they continue to make sure that every day is a Mandela Day, and it is campaigns and initiatives like this that continue to then ensure that we grow that message. We mobilize even more communities. We will reach into all the corners of South Africa and in communities in the rural spaces, in the township, to say, how do we make a difference in someone else's lives? And South Africans have shown the true sense of Ubuntu in that way.
All right, thank you. Let's turn our attention to somebody else that has really been very involved with the 67 Blanket campaign, and I'm sure it's a famous face to most of you. We're speaking to the renowned executive producer and of course founder of one of the most longest running soapies in South Africa, and that is Mr. Mfundi Vudla. You have really gone out of your way to make sure that this initiative reaches all parts of the country. Maybe elaborate. Why was it so important for you to take your baby generations and make sure that you support this initiative?
Well, when you think of a blanket, right? A blanket, all of us use the blanket at night. When we rest, it makes us comfortable, it gives us warmth, it makes us relax, and we go to sleep. And so think about the whole thing about 67 blankets. Now, spread it over the whole of South Africa. It's like all of South Africa reads 67 blankets, given the kind of situation we're in now. We need love, we need warmth, and it's a beautiful project, really. It's the metaphor of knitting people together. The whole thing about, Mandela was like, there's never been a person who's united our country as he has. So it's almost like that spirit must keep on going.
And I like the fact that, as Stein said earlier, that we are actually going beyond just South Africa. We have got other countries that are part of this initiative that have made his dream a reality in so many ways possible.
Indeed, they've seen the genius of the project. It's a blanket which provides warmth to people, so that it's something that we must all embrace for our own humanity.
But what can we do more as South Africans to make sure that wherever Madiba is, his heart keeps on smiling.
We have to support 67 blankets. We have to do good. We have to think about somebody else. We have to help those in need, those in lesser, privileges than we are. We have to do more. We don't have to be rich to help somebody else. You have to care. You have to, they're prisoners serving life sentences who are making some of these blankets. So all of us can do more. And that's what Mandela taught us.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing all of your thoughts with us. Tabile, as you can see, of course, dinner continues on this beautiful train. The guests are digging in. It's conversation and they're networking. It's really a beautiful evening. It is raining in the capital city, but not even the wet weather has, served as a deterrent for many of the guests who have joined us here today. And they're doing this all in the spirit of Madiba. And as you heard from the guest here, every day should be a Nelson Mandela Day. South Africans, the world at large, should open their hearts and make sure that they realize the legacy and the dream of course, the father of the nation, Nelson Mandela. Now, just to remind you, of course, if you want to get involved, please do join in this beautiful campaign. The blanket, or rather the portrait that will depict the face of Nelson Mandela is expected to be launched next year, the 24th of April. And of course, we'll also be celebrating the 24th year of democracy in the country. So it's really a milestone in so many ways that you can think of. And that milestone has been made possible by the likes of Madiba. But while you continue with the news in studio, we'll continue enjoying this beautiful ride for Madiba. It's back to you in studio.
Thank you very much, Patricia. We're all jealous. We all wish we were there. That was our reporter, Patricia Visagie, joining us from the Blue Train for the Massive Mandela Masterpiece launch now.